Good morning, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Easter Sunday. My name is Tom Battinger, joined here by Taco and a new friend. His name is Ducky. He's a solo laner for Lion Guard. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing alright, thanks. I was a bit tired after yesterday's games, but I'm doing alright.
Glad to have you aboard. We're going to be discussing some of the more interesting topics. We've got 4 matches going on today, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that later. That's what the players are doing. But what are you doing? We can save you some money. Right away, you can go ahead and snatch that gentleman's chest that's in Smite. 25% off. That's a whole quarter. So you get a little bit of off that as well. And then once you cop it, you can go ahead and play. You get double Worshippers, a double favor, and double experience for going ahead and rocking it with your friends.
And that's always a fun time, just getting to really be involved, especially after watching an SPL LAN weekend. Always really gets you going.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, everybody's got 2 monitors these days, I think. I always got the broadcast on one side, and I'm watching, I'm like, all right, now I got to play, right? I think everybody sort of gets to that mindset. But as I said, we're getting into our final day of the Gauntlet, and we certainly have traveled a number of days to get here. Starting over on Friday, we saw the North American teams climb the ladder. Oxygen Supremacy had a fantastic stretch, but ultimately did fall to Snoopy and the gang on In Memory of Gabe, who then lost to Soar Gaming, so they will be playing today. And then Europe as well. We saw a number of teams sort of go throughout everything, but it was Team Rival that ultimately wound up coming up here in the finals.
Well, honestly, I think Rival is just Deathwalker, right? He was just walking around, picking Erlang, Shen, the Outwash yesterday as well. I don't know. He had a lot of out-of-the-meta picks, but they really worked out kind of really well.
That's one of the more exciting parts about, I think, the fact that Rival got this deep is that they're one of these teams that really grinded hard to find themselves here in the finals. And, well, Deathwalker turning over a completely new leaf whatsoever. So really enjoy what these guys, Rival, have been doing. Formerly Cyclone GG, now coming into the 2017 season looking really, really strong.
And it's always fantastic watching a team such as Rival really step it up to the new environment, because they've always been regarded, like we mentioned multiple times yesterday, as a mechanically adept team that can certainly be a spoiling factor when it comes to taking games off of these top considered teams. But for them to actually run it all the way through a veteran squad such as Lobster, Azalea, Funballer with Enix, I mean, that's really impressive.
That's really what it was. And, you know, I have little thoughts of what NRG once was. iRaffer is always quoted as taking 4 just mechanically good dudes and then putting them together on a team and hoping and trusting that enough practice turns them into a strong strategic unit. That's what I see in this squad. You got this guy Wlfy here. He killed somebody with a just no setup raw beam, and then he did it again a couple of minutes later. The guy's mechanics are out of control, and with a lot of work, he found himself to be one of the better mids in the world.
Well, I actually used to play with Wlfy back on my Challenger team. I think it was Septum 7, maybe? Or maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was Septum 7.
I think it was Septum 7. But Wlfy is a mechanically skilled player. He's great comms. It just didn't work out in the Challenger scene, but I'm really happy to see him here today. Yeah,
I mean, it's just the proof that hard work pays off. And across the way, Yammyn, also a perfect example of that. Yammyn, again, this is the story of NRG. iRaffer was a jungler, working, not working, I5 with Terra, just everything was not where he wanted it to be. And he said, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to grab 4 players that I think are very, very strong at least pushing their buttons, and I'll teach them how to do everything else. These days, I don't think Yammyn needs a teacher. He's the professor.
I'm Yammyn. I play mid for NRG, and we won 2 worlds. So. My competitive background is I basically only had one team before Terra, now NRG. It was called Spicy Waffles. It was with Half Devil, like Bobat, Wlfy, and Caro. And yeah, it was okay team. Not bad, not bad. The goal for this year is, of course, to win worlds. We kind of slacked at the start now. Had like a chill break so we don't get burned out. And now we're just gonna start grinding again. Hopefully we're gonna be on top. I think teams improved a lot this season, and we kind of stepped down a bit, like slacked and like had a break. So we're playing catch up right now. I feel like I'm pretty confident this LAN. I think we're gonna do pretty good, and hopefully we're gonna win. If I had to joust a commentator, it would probably be Eftat, because I'm gonna outshock him.
I'm about outshot. Cut the interview. That's that. You had to put that last shot on there. Of course. My man Yammyn up there. One of the big things that I think I want to draw attention to is the fact that NRG, they're the defending world champion, not just once, but 2 times over, and yet they find themselves here in the Gauntlet. I don't think it's because they got worse. I think Yammyn hit the nail on the head. He's very honest saying, look, man, we really didn't want to get burned out. Sometimes playing so much can burn you out. So they took a break a little bit. Do you think how do you feel about that one, Ducky?
I'm not too sure. I think with NRG, they take a while just to pick up on the meta. They're a really good team, really mechanically skilled, but it just takes them a bit of time just to catch up. I love it.
So you think that was just a little bravado? You think they actually did struggle a little bit?
I think they struggled slightly at the start, but they're, like I said, picking up the pace.
That's certainly what we're seeing here. I mean, NRG, they're here ready to play and relaxed like always. Taka, when you talk to these guys, what's the vibe you get out of NRG?
It's more like the calm before the storm whenever it comes to NRG. You never really know what to expect, especially from this squad. And in fact, it's almost like Ducky mentioned, they just like adapting to whatever it is, no pun intended, that the enemy tries to throw out at them. And they're an excellent team at recognizing the flaws within a draft and immediately seizing that opportunity. And you can tell already Fafnir locked away, taking that one up from Callus.
Scotty, Serket banned out by NRG, and then Susano and Kepri banned away by Team Rival, Fafnir being the first pick. And, NRG, like I said, we've been around these guys for a long time, and they're always very chill, calm, cool, collected. Team Rival, on the other hand, they are here, and they are biting at the bit. Talking to Deathwalker on camera yesterday, said, what are your expectations against NRG? They're hard. We're going to win! The camera turned off. I was like, so how you really feel? We're going to win! And that's exactly how they feel. They're ready to go. I like that confidence.
Well, you can look at the 2 teams already just on the cams alone. NRG, like we saw, are just all calm, really talking things over. But even the shots from Wlfy to Yammyn, Rival just has so much of that confident swagger about them, really.
Speaking of confidence, you just saw Deathwalker there. He's a really confident guy throughout the entire LAN here. You just see him every time the camera goes on him, a cheeky pose, a cheeky wink, anything.
So he picks the Erlang Shen. You mentioned it before. I want you to talk about that. We haven't seen him recently unless Deathwalker's playing him. Yeah, what's the Erlang about?
I honestly don't understand. I haven't seen him playing that much in scrims. I haven't seen it that much in games. I don't know. Maybe it's just a comfort pick.
It's working out so far. I love the ban out of NRG, banning the Ra against Team Rival. Not only, sure, Ra, sustain, I don't think that's what it's about. They saw what Wlfy was doing yesterday, just obliterating people with the long-range shots. I like to see NRG show that respect to a team that I think a lot of fans at home are expecting this to be easy, and I don't think NRG are expecting it to be that easy.
And I think that they opted more towards a Ra and Isis ban after they saw the Odin ban go through on the side of Rival, so they probably expected Rival to maybe look for that cheeky healing composition.
At the same time, the Odin ban can sort of be a bait, making sure that they ban out those healers.
Yeah, I agree. I think what Rival might look for is Zeus, maybe. So they've got the magical damage. However, NRG still here, going to get their ADC and solo. I'd like to see maybe Osiris or a Tier.
Well, with the Osiris banned out, where do you think the Dimi's going to... Oh, I think it's going to be the Xing, I guess.
Ooh.
It's an interesting choice. How do you feel about Xing in the long lane versus the Erlang?
It's a strong character, but with Guardians, you're not really going to get that much pressure early, so they might focus the duo side of the map more. And the Chang'e locked in, is that for... Oh, that's for... Is that mid?
I guess so. We've got the Terra. We've got the Terra and the Rama.
Oh, it's jungle.
Yeah. Because Medusa is going to be Yammyn's character of choice. Now, this is very interesting. Chang'e has become a very standard pick here in the jungle, thanks to DJ Pernicus. No, seriously, thank you. My rank games are awful. But Chang'e is the go-to in the jungle, right? And I feel like adapting is not one of those players. How do you think adapting is going to work out on the Chang'e?
It's the Rival on Chang'e. It's iCeicebaby. I haven't seen him play that much, but I have faith. I have faith in my boy.
When it comes to iCeicebaby, he's a very, very multifaceted player. I'm not too concerned like I was with adapting. Who's got his signature Thor? Oh well, I'm fried. Let's talk to the casters for the first game. It's Hindu Man and it's aggro.
So much. F-Dot and the analysts as well. We're here for the finals of the Gauntlet, at least the European edition anyway. NRG expected to be in this spot. Obviously, we knew they were going to be here, but Rival, a sort of a surprise here. We more than likely, most of the fans at home would have expected Enix.
Yeah, Enix, the veteran team, but Rival just upset them yesterday. And you saw Lobster say it on Twitter, Reddit as well, baby. They just got outplayed. I mean, this is a team that has stuck together for so long. Their synergy is really, really impressive. Their picks and bans have been really solid. And this is just another draft that they're throwing at NRG that they had kept under wraps thus far.
The only thing with NRG's composition here, there's only one thing that's not necessarily surprising but unusual, is emilitoo and hi-rez. The rest of that is just standard NRG picks. We're not really seeing too much hi-rez lately. That's the reason I'm saying that. We have seen emilitoo play it before, though.
Only Funball has really played the hi-rez consistently. He was playing it a lot. I believe he played it back-to-back up against Rival yesterday. So you know that European hunters seem to favor this hi-rez. And you could tell that NRG and Enix, if I had to make a guess, have been scrimming each other a decent bit because Big Man Tinks, he was picking up Hog in that support role, and that's something that NRG was the only one really doing. And if Funball has been showing NRG that hi-rez is pretty good, no surprise to see emilitoo take it.
Look at this start from NRG right now. Where emilitoo is positioned is the back harpies. He's looking to try and get the ricochet bounce to clear them quickly. Meanwhile, Raffer's already started at the red buff with... Has he got the hog? No hog available. So they're going to try and take the backs and potentially the red here. Meanwhile, Rival have already cleared the wave in the left-hand side as we continue to watch mid. And Team Rival are looking to engage at the speed.
But Rival don't want to invade on that left-hand side. Adapting and Yammyn only going to take the little guys off that speed buff just to make sure they hit level 2 early on here.
So with what NRG just did there, they do lose most of that wave. Maybe they got 1 or 2 archers in that wave, and you can actually see that iRaffer still level 1 at the moment as the duo lane of Rival do hit level 2.
But Raffer has that Bumba's Mask. That's what allows him to tank up that red buff and just not even worry about the amount of damage he's taking. Getting emilitoo ahead is the idea with this, and it's already working thus far.
And now with them getting wave clear once again, once Terra hits level 2, her wave clear just increased just a little bit more, allows us to poke them out, get a bit of damage off, and also get them back to their own jungle quicker.
NRG is definitely winning this early stages of the game. Adapting took a little bit of poke in that little engagement in the mid lane. Iceicebaby has a slight level lead for the time being, but there's a wave coming in. NRG definitely has a lot of experience waiting for them, but Yammyn taking a lot of poke in that mid lane.
Those autos were on point from Wlfy in the mid lane there. Hitting all 3 of them with the extra poison that's allowed from that ability to give Medusa. Luckily the lacerate didn't hit, otherwise that would have been first blood.
We know Wlfy is comfortable on these hunters in the mid lane. Early on here, they take it for him, just putting him on another comfort pick, which I love because, like we said, he's just so comfortable on these hunters and knows how to play them like a backline mage, but can also play that aggressive hunter style.
iceicebaby gonna get hit by that double tap, as well as some extra damage coming out from Dimi there as well. Wave clear advantage once again to Rival, and at the moment, all 3 lanes of energy are not actually winning. They are being pushed into tower consistently.
I mean, that's what you expect when you have an Erlang Shen over here, and iceicebaby just getting himself some guaranteed farm whenever there aren't the major buffs remaining on his side of the map. But the Rom Terra lane outpushing the Fafnir hi-rez, and then Medusa continuing to get pressure just from that poke damage, forcing Yammyn back, definitely allows Rival to have a lot of opportunities to invade on this first respawn of buffs.
A little bit surprised by NRG's build for emilitoo here at the start. We've not touched on the builds just yet too much, but Bluestone, and I believe it's the Light Blade, just an extra attack speed in this build. He's not got much sustain in this, and that's one of the reasons I think we see him returning to base already.
But it could be getting a couple, boots 2 right now, so there's a little bit more power. There was no power in that build outside of that Bluestone. Yammyn has to run away, gets hit by that Waxing Moon, and taunted right into the Medusa ult.
But most of it was absorbed by the Aegis, but still cleaned up nicely by that 3-man rotation. Adapting was too deep in the wave. Raffer wasn't anywhere to be seen there. First blood to Rival, off to a great start.
And again, it just centers around Deathwalker. Rival just seemed to play around their solo laners so well. He gets pressure in that lane, as he should. He's an early game warrior up against that Guardian for Dimi, and then makes his rotation count. Great CC chain there to really punch through that Aegis.
Now the problem with Rival's composition, though, when I look at it on paper here, Aggro, is the backline defense isn't the greatest. When we look towards Vote MBK, who's playing that Rama, and towards Wlfy on the Medusa, none of those are really going to sit on the backline and peel for them as well as they may need to against someone like Thor, like Adapting, who's going to be dunking down from the jungle.
But it's only really Adapting who's going to get into that backline and do significant damage. Dimi will get into the backline, yes, but it's more as a disruptor. He's not going to solo anyone down with this Xing Chen, even in the later stages of the game. So if Wlfy or Vote is forced out of the fight by Dimi, so be it. Rival have so much damage on this team and quite a bit of lockdown as well that I'm not sure that's really going to matter.
Well, right now, you can see Deathwalker was hovering around the mid lane there, looking for a potential 4-man engage onto the 3 that were there from NRG. But returns back to the solo lane, making sure he doesn't lose any farm there, up against Dimi on that Xing Tian. He's not realistically going to be able to kill Xing Tian by this point. The old days of Erlang Shen have gone. There's no cripple available on that pin anymore, but the root is still impactful.
Without a doubt, and while the root before shut down high mobility compositions with the cripple on it, now it's better against those low mobility comps as Vote just able to avoid, intentionally I'm sure, that ricochet.
For sure, and I like what emilitoo did there. He went aggressive, but the moment the ricochet missed, he immediately fell back. He didn't try and take a trade with a Rama who had all his abilities available, could have gone very negative, as did that gank for adapting in the solo.
Oracle's going to be secured here by NRG. Keep in mind, like you mentioned, Hindu, a lot of teams probably and fans at home didn't expect Rival to be here up against NRG.
Sure.
But just because you didn't expect it doesn't mean they don't have a really good shot at taking it to the world champions. This is a team that, with this roster, has taken multiple games against NRG's roster across multiple splits as well.
Another advantage for a team Rival here today, even though they're up 1 kill so far, is that they've had a warm-up on the stage so far this weekend.
True.
This is NRG's very first game in the Gauntlet, and they have to win a best of 3. Rival have the advantage right now, and they are the ones pressuring consistently.
And that's because Deathwalker, again, has this pressure in the solo lane. All the pressure is either coming on the right or the mid. Blue buff not going to be secured by NRG quite yet. Ice just sitting there, poking away. This is what Chang'e jungle excels at. It's not that gank potential. It's not some big burst really in the early stages of the game. It's just these little 2v2, 3v3 skirmishes that she's so tough to lock down in.
Very, very surprised. The Waxing Moon comes out from iceicebaby. The Rival weren't there to try and contest that a little bit earlier. They had pressure, and with Yammyn back in, would have had the extra man advantage if they called upon it. But NRG will get their blue buff. Waxing Moon was used, so that's on cooldown. No real ganks for iceicebaby for a while now.
And even though Dimi is behind in this lane and they're getting his blue buff, this is what we're used to seeing out of him. What do we always talk about when it comes to Dimi and NRG? It's that he's willing to take these losing matchups, he's willing to get beaten lane consistently, and then just show up and help the team in the late stages of the game. This is not some foreign territory for Dimi.
Sure, he's one of those solo lanes that will play for the team every single time. The amount of times we've seen Dimi get soloed, and it's not necessarily because he's a terrible player, it's just his matchup does not work in his favor at all. But in the grand scheme of NRG's performance, the matchup is perfect for them.
And a lot of teams, the support is a sacrificial lamb. They're the ones who throwing their life away for the support of the team. On NRG, it's Dimi. Dimi is that player. iRaffer wants to, get in there and really tussle with everybody. Dimi is the one who will die for the team.
Adapting, ulting early towards the mid lane, hovering in air, looking towards what Rival have available. Vote caught in the jungle, adapting, considering his options here, realizing team's not in position, they're not grouped well enough to really follow up, will just end up in the wave.
And I don't mind the fact that Adapting's used 2 ultimates and hasn't found anything with it yet. It's about seeing if Rival decide to step up and take a misplay, just giving NRG the option to really turn a fight. NRG is fine with sitting here and allowing this farm game to happen. They're very comfortable in winning these mid to late game team fights. If they don't get a lead early, it's not the end of the world. I have no problem with the way Adapting's playing this so far.
Right now, they do not have a lead early. You can see by just the gold at the top of the screen that Rival are in control of this one. The first one comes into play there. But better farming is also happening as these invades continue to happen from Rival.
Speed buff is the target right now. Remember, Adapting, no ultimate. iRaffer trying to get in there with that Draconic Corruption, but doesn't get it in time.
But he can look towards iceicebaby, who's in a lot of trouble here on this right-hand side. Terra's Blessing comes into play, but already iceicebaby's dead. The root combo onto Deathwalker's good, but the Kraken just off the mark as Deathwalker will heal back up to full, and on the retreat of NRG.
Vote with the ultimate as well, just to put some pot shots in as NRG retreats. 1 for 1, jungler for jungler, but again, Rival got the buff. They're the ones who come out on top.
And now it's just up to NRG to once again try and farm up and catch up. The mid-wave pushed in there as well by Callus, who made the rotation, just trying to keep this pressure on. Talking about pressure, emilitoo trying to do that to Vote with the purple buff, has to respect the rotations that could come out from Rival though.
Vote has had a really solid showing so far this weekend. Found the solo kill onto Funball in their set against Enix, so you know that emilitoo is going to play with some respect onto his enemy hunter.
iRaffer got one of those. As you can see, neither team has the extra Oracle ward available for them there, and iRaffer did get that heal from the Bumba's Mask as well. Thankfully, iRaffer did pick up that Bumba's Mask, which makes it a little bit easier to tell whether or not he got the contested camps.
3 Bumba's Masks right now for NRG. Yammyn, Adapting, and iRaffer all with that 500 gold mask. just trying to make sure that when they're splitting up their camps, they're doing them with their other teammates that don't have the Bumbas. At least someone is getting that extra gold and the heal and mana regen as well.
And the one thing about a team like NRG, if you're the world champions, you're going to be able to juggle who's the closest to that camp for that heal if they need it. So having 3 members with a little bit more sustain than they would naturally have in their kit, very useful.
But it does mean that iRaffer is going to be a little bit behind Gauntlet in terms of his build early on, at least, until he gets a little bit of that gold back just from that Bumba's passive on the jungle camps. You can say the same for Yammyn up against Wlfy, who's actually down 2 levels. Wlfy 2-0-0 right now. Top of the game in net worth.
But iRaffer is on that Fafnir as well. A lot of benefits to Fafnir that people overlook. When you hit the coerce on one of your teammates, you can leave the lane, and as long as they continue to poke the wave and clear minions, you're going to get experience, even if you're 50,000 miles away across the map.
And don't forget that you're going to get more gold than any other support as well, just because of Fafnir's passive. So you're going to be getting tankier from that gold that's sitting in your inventory. A lot of unseen benefits to Fafnir, as you mentioned.
Well, approaching 10 minutes in now, 2-1 for Rival. Rival have been the aggressors for the most part. NRG have looked at options, mainly through adapting with ultimates, but they've not really found anything just yet. Solo lane is getting involved very, very early on in this one. These rotations from both of them towards mid, it's showing that Rival are the ones that are trying to pressure it, and now Dimi's starting to answer, now that he's hit a comfortable position on the Xing 10.
Once that Furious Roar is maxed out, Dimi's wave clear goes up pretty significantly, and he can start to try to match Deathwalker's rotations. Deathwalker's still going to out-clear Dimi, but not nearly at the same rate as he did early on.
Great start for Rival so far. iRaffer hanging around the mid lane here is on the Fafnir, so can easily leap over that wall if Rival look to aggress too much. Hammer comes out. No gold for you this time. iRaffer needs to be careful about his position here. He's adapting. Gets hit by those walls from Callus.
This isn't a bad time for NRG to fight, considering the fact that iRaffer has his sovereignty completed and Callus does not. Callus looks like he may be going for Heartward right off the bat.
All this pressure has allowed Deathwalker to get a 2-level lead right now. Speed buff does go down as Dimi tries to keep Deathwalker busy, but the speed buff being dropped is very awkward. Now Adapting wants to try and get hold of that by the looks of it, but he's not being allowed to right now.
It looks like NRG got it, but there's the Kraken onto Wlfy, who used the purification beats, then dashes into Yammyn underneath the tower, but the Aegis is good enough to save his life.
However, Adapting was waiting for the turnaround play, looks towards Wlfy, gets hit by the waxing moon, trapped in place though, can't get away, trapped on his own wall, running for his life now. I's on the way to try and help him out.
Oh, but Foe cleans him up with the snipe from the sky. Dimi coming around the backside, looking for the toss into the tower, but with Deathwalker here as well, NRG may have to retreat.
Is the one in a bit of trouble here, but Dimi's gonna pick up 2 for a wild ride. Sadly enough, it was Callus that got aggro from the tower, so Deathwalker will get out. Emilitoo turns up to the fray, falls back towards his team though. It's only a 1-for-0 exchange where NRG come out on the losing end.
And again, Vote out-rotates Emilitoo to get there in time. Now, in Emilitoo's defense, Vote doesn't have to walk nearly as far, using that ultimate to close the gap, but Emilitoo shows up a little bit too late. Adapting almost got out with 1 HP with a snipe from Vote on point once more.
All ultimates are down for both teams right now as the Gold Fury started by Rival. The Oracles will go their way as Deathwalker on the aggressive, keeping Emilitoo honest. iRaffer cannot get there in time to steal it away, but NRG want to make them pay for taking the Gold Fury.
But Dimi's only level 11. He doesn't have a second relic, doesn't have a blink or anything like that, so NRG have to just accept the fact that they can only get the enemy red buff here.
And that red buff will have him out a little bit as the wall comes out here in 2 with the double tap. He's adapting there. The Kraken is good! Callus falls down. In comes Dimi again, but Deathwalker's clean up Yammyn.
Deathwalker's in trouble now though, but a huge waxing moon coming out of Ice-Ice-Baby. There's just no follow-up from the rest of Rival. Petrified just came off cooldown for Wlfy. Rival do end up losing 2, only to 1 for NRG.
Not the worst targets to really bring down either for them. Deathwalker dying there, very important to allow Dimi to continue to catch up. Thanks to the early pressure Deathwalker has had in this lane with the invades, that level difference has to be shortened at some point, and doing it early on is much better than trying to wait till after 20 minutes.
That wall from Adapting was just disgustingly good. Pinning Vote and another member up against that wall and the purple buff wall. And shout out to Sands of Time for Yammyn, because that Kraken came up at just the right moment. Luckily, Vote had his Aegis ready to go, but Callus got gobbled up.
Yeah, what really surprised me there was Rival's decision to continue to fight there more often than not. They lost the red already. They could have backed away with the result of getting that gold, but they thought they could try and continue to contest. Problem was, is the ultimates were starting to come back up, and that's where NRG made them pay.
And that's the thing, you're saying, okay, my ultimate's up in 8 seconds, we can almost fight. But the thing is, Yammyn has 10% CDR, so his ultimate is up right now.
emilitoo's in trouble, but the Suns will help him out a bit. Vote's going to avoid the damage and turn it back on him. emilitoo forced to Aegis, worried about the snipes. 2 of those 3 did hit. That could have spelled death. Wise Aegis.
Just not enough patience right now from Vote. Doesn't wait out that Aegis. Yammyn
hello.
around the backside has that Kraken ready to go. Vote's got no relics.
And he's not going to get out of that Kraken damage either. The Whirlpool just pulls him back in again. And emilitoo will give him a giggle to let him know, you got baited, my friend. I'm not going to hang around on that low health. We've had a rotation coming.
Vote's old habits start to rear their ugly head. Always known for being overly aggressive at times, just too far up in that lane.
He's in a bit of trouble here as the tower's being focused, but with Raffer's rotation, they can try and hold for a while. Still plenty of minions here for Rival, though. And with Dimi's health being slightly low here, they should get this tower. Adapting is on his way, though.
As is Wlfy. Adapting has that ultimate, though. Tower goes down, and Adapting goes up, looking for the dunk and finds 2.
The baits are real from NRG right now, and the whirlwind of rage and steel is causing them a problem, but iceicebaby will clean up Dimi. Raffer claims the life of Callus at the same time, but now NRG on the retreat again. 1-for-1 exchange, but Rival get the tier 1 tower.
But emilitoo's going to get one of his own on this left side. Vote just now getting back to lane after dying earlier on. 500 gold to each side, but again, 1-for-1. The fact that Dimi fell out instead of Callus, though, definitely favors Rival.
Deathwalker straight on Yammyn, making sure it's very difficult for them to contest this portal demon right now. Ice is quite low here, but with Wlfy and Deathwalker, it's really up to Raffer. Now Adapting joining in. Raffer got a kill! He didn't manage to steal the portal demon, but Ice, that was a mistake.
Just tanking it too low. You called it right away. He was just a little bit too low, counting on those heals, but only sitting at level 12, doesn't have quite enough magical power and levels in that third ability to keep him healthy enough to withstand Raffer's onslaught.
3 members of NRG mid lane there, but Yammyn a little bit low on mana here to really continue the pressure. Instead, they're going to look for more farm. They had the red buff on rotation after the last little skirmish. Vote's on his way to contest it, but he may find more trouble than he wanted.
He's got a lot of trouble, forced to roll away, and the Terra's Blessing comes out from Callus. We always talk about it when it comes to Terra, but that ultimate is on a very long cooldown, and when NRG can bait it out like that without committing any resources, that's a big win for them.
I do want to go back to Vote MBK versus emilitoo in that duo lane, because Vote MBK has the same playstyle as always. He just gets a little bit too aggressive sometimes, and that's actually punished them a little bit here, Rival, because they got the tier 1 tower right. Because the aggression from Vote MBK was so much, it has allowed emilitoo to get that tower back in response, where he shouldn't have died anyway. The over-aggression has cost him quite a bit there.
Without a doubt, and that's the first time we've seen Vote really go back to his old ways of playing too aggressive. He played very controlled up against Enix. They had a great showing against Elevate as well. A little bit unfortunate there, but you know that someone in his team is going to say, all right, Vote, you got to calm down a little bit, man.
Sure.
Especially when you don't have relics.
Well, he rolls away from that dunk from Adapting. Beautifully done from him, and he doesn't end up getting punished anymore. Keeps hold of his beads and his Aegis there. Very important, especially when the Gold Fury's respawning.
Very good patience there out of Vote. And for all, even when he was playing too aggressive all the time, if he got to late game, he had the potential to carry the game. No one has ever questioned this guy's mechanics or late game carry mentality. It's just about how safely can he get there. Only taking that 1 death and losing that 500 gold, it's not great, but it's certainly not the end of the world.
Keep an eye on those player damage charts on the left-hand side. iceicebaby, jungle Chang'e is top of the player damage now. Surprisingly so when you've got the likes of Erlang, Shen in the solo lane. iceicebaby is involved in these fights more than you'd expect.
Yammyn stunned out there by Callus into the waxing moon, and he dies before he even gets his Kraken off. Callus able to pick him up.
And the beads down for emilitoo now, thanks to the Petrify coming out from Wlfy there. Rival feel confident to continue pulling the Gold Fury. Raffer's here, adapting in the mid lane, but no ultimate available for that Thor.
Not yet, but it's close to being up. Raffer is still just being cheeky in that front line. Not a whole lot of burst secure here for Rival.
Gold Fury is getting very, very low now. Adapting still farming to the tier 2 tower. Now Raffer pops the ultimate, trying to disengage Rival, and that is the job done. Gold Fury reset, NRG try and disengage. Dimi will be the last one out of the fight, but this is working out okay.
Adapting comes around the back and hits Vote with that double tap. Gold Fury already gone, but Adapting's up in the air.
Small mistake from Adapting there, double tapping that Gold Fury. Vote's in the scan, he would like to land on him, but Adapting's going to wait for the right time. Can't though, because Vote can hold in the air a little bit longer than he can. Adapting's double tap would have hit, but the Aegis came through. Wall of difference different story, and NRG have actually picked up Deathwalker on the back of this fight.
Just too deep for the solo laner vote. No Aegis trying to just put in the shots from a distance, and he does.
Oh, he
But
got the
emilitoo!
double! He got the double off the wall, picks them both up. Yes, Rafa got the kill, but it was all emilitoo. First time I've seen a ricochet come through that really found the mark he was after. Adapting picks up Wlfy, and Callis is running. Rafa's close by, but a fantastic wall from Callis again there. Just gets him out of the danger.
What an unreal ricochet coming out of emilitoo. That fight was just going neck and neck. It was tough to see who was going to come out on top until Emil just single-handedly won the fight for NRG.
I will say though, I don't think emilitoo there really was planning on that. That was RNG more than anything else. He'll say it's calculated, all pros do, but it wasn't. He just got a bit of luck there, and that's what you get if you're the world champions.
Adapting, getting low from this Fire Giant, force uses Aegis, but he's not going to fall to the objective. NRG instead get 5 members with Fire Giant, and what looked like a good game for Rival all of a sudden is turned on its head, and NRG's the one with all the momentum.
Now the gold is even between the two teams. The experience has gotten in the way of NRG now just after the last couple of engagements, even though Rival got the last 2 Gold Furies and 1 Portal Demon so far. It's still not enough to get the lead in terms of experience.
And that's just, it really comes down to that last team fight. Remember, Rival was sitting around that Gold Fury, Adapting was pushing multiple waves in the mid lane. That's getting experience that Rival is not. Then NRG take the team fight, pick up a wave, and then go to the Fire Giant. That experience difference is only going to continue to get bigger from here.
But the experience lead that they've got, look at the level difference on the screen right now. It's really all emilitoo, just a small lead over Vote. Yes, Rafa is above Callis, but it's not the biggest thing to write home about. Yeah, the Coerce will be a little bit more stacked up, maybe with Max by now, but it's not enough to actually get a substantial lead in experience.
No, but Rafa's 5-0-4 right now on this Fafnir. Again, shout out to emilitoo for getting him that double kill in that last engagement, but still, even without that double kill, Rafa has been all over the place, top of the net worth right now.
Now with all 5 members of NRG having the Fire Giant, they're going to siege up the Portal Demon here just for the golden experience, maybe try and force a fight from Rival up against the Fire Giant. Portal Demon goes to NRG, and immediately Rival disengage.
I'm surprised NRG allows Rival to disengage in this instance, especially with the Fire Giant in an even game. Fire Giant is worth a couple thousand gold to whatever team has it, so I would have expected NRG to really play aggressive in that scenario.
But right now, though, this first Fire Giant aggro is really all about establishing a proper lead in this game. They're going to be looking for the towers and just the gold gains that they can get, realizing that Rival can't really contest them. Talking about contesting, though, tier 1 tower for right on NRG, but mid lane, Rival have just grouped up and taken that.
There's 500 gold for them. 2 members still on the right side as Adapting goes up looking for the dunk. He's going to hit 3 there with that one.
The Kraken off the mark, though, but the Whirlpool did pretty good damage. Dimi around the back, he's looking towards Wlfy. He won't be able to pick him up, though, as Vote is looking to clean up Adapting after the engagement. Right-hand side, emilitoo gets the tier 2 as this fight still continues, but everyone seems to be okay right now. The sustain from Rival, keeping him in the mix.
Raffer backed and used the portal to get a great angle onto the backside of this fight. Again, Adapting, no ultimate, but Kalas slowed down by Yammyn. Nowhere for him to go for the moment. Gonna have a dash soon, but he's blocked off.
Sacrificial lamb is Callis right now. The rest of Rival just escapes, and Callis clearly made the call there. Leave me, boys. Leave my man behind. I've got to go. I'm gonna
remember me fondly.
Remember when we took the tower? That's the main thing. 11-7, though. The world champions are in control of this game finally. It wasn't all clean from them, though. Rival have really given them a fight so far. But the problem is that they are going to get a substantial gold lead from all these towers going down.
And they might not even look at the towers. They might turn their attention to the Phoenix instead. emilitoo has that Coerce buff and is just shredding through Deathwalker.
Deathwalker can't get out of the Whirlpool as the sun's rained down from heaven. emilitoo will thank his lucky sun, stars, and moon as well. Vote flipped in, rolls away to the left. Adapting wants to make sure he forces the ultimate out of Vote, and now on landing, the wall was waiting.
emilitoo cleans up Wlfy under that Phoenix. Yammyn finds Vote. That middle Phoenix already falling. NRG started to take this one easily.
Reminds me a little bit of this NRG squad right now of the old days of when they were climbing the ladder in the Pro League. The 16-17 minute mark, the gas switch just gets hit, and the next minute NRG just explode onto the battlefield and show you why they were one of the best teams in the world.
That's the hardest thing I think about playing up against NRG is not only do they have multiple strategies and you don't really know exactly what they're going to take against you, but all it takes is one team fight going their way, and it doesn't have to go incredibly their way like it did in this scenario, but They take one team fight and just explode that lead instantly. That's exactly what NRG has done here. Look at this game. It was even until 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just takes one play from emilitoo in order to skyrocket NRG to a lead. And you never know who that one play is going to be from. It's not like, okay, we could just focus on emilitoo.
They
He's
all
the
have the potential,
playmaker.
yeah.
Every single member of this team can make a game-turning play at any given moment.
And not just that, now NRG will get the goal. Fury Fire Giant will be open in about 40 seconds time as well. Rival unable to contest this goal Fury here at the moment. One benefit for NRG on top of that, they've not really shown any strategies here. They've picked the standard things we've seen out of them from years gone by.
Yeah, and Poseidon for Yammyn, Poseidon the most picked mid laner, all
Adapting
split
for
long.
Thor, like come on. Dimi's played Xing 10 since the cows have come home.
Right,
So
exactly. The only thing, maybe emilitoo won't get hi-rez again, but maybe Vote will take it away from him. But, I mean, I don't know. emilitoo could have done that on basically any ADC. You never know what to pick or ban against NRG because they all just have too many gods that you cannot give them.
Rafa's going to get himself a couple more stacks of that Talaria passive with the 30 Gs from that hammer, just continuing to throw that out. Very comfortable position for Rafa to be in level 18 now, 3-level lead over Callus. Over level leads is a 3-level lead now for emilitoo, finally level 20. Pretty much full build achieved from the Hunter.
Only has that blue stone left, has one more item to go. Lots of penetration in that build, trying to strip down Kalas, who's going to get eaten by that Kraken, but there's not enough damage quite yet. emilitoo does find him through that Terra's Blessing.
Adapting down, looking towards Vote MBK, who rolls to the right-hand side, has to take to the scarf. The double tap did hit there, and waiting for him is 3 hungry members of NRG. Luckily enough, though, he had Wlfy with him to go on Yammyn and cause a distraction. The bad news is, Wlfy's going to fall, as will Vote.
The body blocks are too good. Deathwalker trying to chase down Yammyn. There's the knockback, but iceicebaby finally cleans up Yammyn. But I think he cost himself his life, and possibly this might be the game for Rival. Deicide looks likely here.
Adapting got the double, looking to clean this up with a triple, but emilitoo will go, no, I'll take the Deicide for myself. The world champions' first game at the Gauntlet LAN, and they are a lot better, I will say, than we saw in the regular season.
And that's what we expect from NRG. Like they said, you know, like Yammyn said in the interview, whether it's a little bit of bravado or whether it's true, they didn't want to burn themselves out. They just kind of took the early part of the spring split easy. Nothing easy of coming out of NRG here today. They are here to play, here to dominate.
And with the LAN behind them as well. That's the one thing is LAN. They're not going to mess around at LAN. They want to try and win. Money is on the line, as well as that shot at Masters. Can you imagine if NRG don't make Masters?
With the way they're playing right now, I don't think that's possible.
Well, I don't know, because they're still going to face North America for at least seeding if they do get through Rival first of all. And NA will be watching on again to see exactly how NRG are playing. And what the information they're going to get is, well, this is the same team we saw in the regular season in Season 3.
They're going to pick the same thing. They're going to play the same things, at least from what we've seen. Obviously, NRG could have some strategies that they've been practicing on the down low that we might not have to even see at this LAN. They might be able to wait until Masters for it.
I think the biggest thing from Rival's point of view, though, is just an agreement to engage a little bit too much and continue to take these fights. They had a lead at certain points in this game, but when the fights came to it, they went for the kills a little bit more. And once again, I mentioned protection for their carries of this Medusa, of this Rama. Both of them died first in that engagement.
That's true, but I think that Rival had that lead early, and they didn't play around Deathwalker's lead in particular.
Yeah.
He gets that first blood in that mid lane, and then just kind of disappears from then on. Yes, there was some pressure on the right-hand side, but not really enough to catapult Rival to a significant lead, just that slight one that they had.
I will say it's a bit of a tricky situation, though, to try and play around Deathwalker. When you look at the fact it's going to be a Xing 10 he's against in lane, he's going to win that lane anyway, so you try and get advantages elsewhere. Talk about advantages, it's a good opportunity here for Rival to go in. They've already taken out emilitoo, but Vote could be a casualty. No, quick meds coming through. Adapting still around the back, though, looking to poke him out.
But there goes the turn on to him. He has to go up into the Anvil of Dawn to give himself an escape route out of danger. Great engagement there by Rival, understanding that emilitoo's beads were on cooldown into the taunt coming out of Deathwalker, immediately blowing up the player they've had the most trouble with so far this game.
That was catching NRG before NRG had set up for the engagement. That was the key there. Rival realized they were the ones in a better position to initiate that fight, and NRG weren't able to respond in time. Yeah, they got some good damage off, but a couple of quick meditations and a fantastic piece of work from Deathwalker will allow them to get some of this gold back.
500 right now out of the left lane, looking for another 15 on this tier 2 tower. Still down pretty significantly, but at this stage, 1,500 gold could be enough to finish off one of those important late game items.
Dimi keeps poking his head around the corner here just to try and keep Rival honest, but they're going to siege up this tier 2. Dimi's still trying to keep Deathwalker busy right now, as Callus and the boys of Rival will get the tier 2 tower and immediately fall back once emilitoo is respawned.
2 hunters, so difficult to zone 2 hunters off of your tower, but it looks like NRG wants to keep the engage going.
Callus being chased down once again, and he may be once again a sacrificial lamb, but luckily enough the monolith and his passive will keep him from being thrown away from the danger. Dimi has to jump to the backside to push back Rival, and Deathwalker was left alone with the carries of energy, and Yammyn, one of those carries, will claim a life. And next on the list is iceicebaby.
emilitoo is back with a vengeance. There's the double dunk coming out of adapting. The wall as well cuts off the escape route for Vote and Callus.
And now iRaffer jumps in, didn't find the stun he wanted, but Adapting's not scared of continuing to pressure. Vote forced all the way back and very low. emilitoo wants that kill. He can smell blood, and he will get the life of the enemy hunter.
It might be the support as well. It will. Double kill coming out of emilitoo. Wlfy just backtracking, trying to stay alive, but iRaffer is level 20. He's 2 levels up right now on this Medusa.
And Wlfy's just going to try and buy time if he can to stop NRG ending this game. The problem is, though, with 3 members in the mid lane, they should still be able to close out this game right now.
Yeah, with Dimi here to tank this up. No minions for the time being, but emilitoo's damage is enough. Wlfy is eventually going to fall there to the kill from iRaffer, and NRG are going to take game 1 up against Rival.
iRaffer has 21.
Right?
Wait a second.
Right?
Hang on. Hello? There we go.
Okay.
Oh, there was a moment there. I'm like,
Yeah,
no way.
Are you kidding me?
21 kill participation from iRaffer there. 6-0 and 15. That's crazy.
And iRaffer, as do most supports, kind of flies under the radar a lot of times on great teams like this. Just the way he positions, the way he has no fear, moving around the map, up in the enemy's faces, trying to body block them, auto-attacking oracles when he's all by himself. That game, he was just dominant on the Fafnir.
Biggest thing for Rival as they sit there and contemplate what went wrong is really when they're disengaging and how long they're staying.
Yeah.
Multiple times is where it over and over again, they fell behind because they got an objective but lost too many lives, and NRG got a chance to answer back.
And it's just keeping track of those cooldowns in their head. The fight up by their purple buff, the Kraken comes up right on time in order to punish them. Adapting always seems to find multiple members with that ultimate. You gotta spread out when there's a Thor on the enemy team. You just cannot afford to have multiple beads or just take that damage from that Thor ult.
Well, the European World Champions have a chance now just to get one more game and put them through to the international game and through to Masters as well. The desk is ready, though, to break down exactly what we saw in that game.
Right now, all I saw was NRG versus NRG Junior. Rival looked like a fantastic team, even towards the end when they wound up losing, but 20 minutes in, they were neck and neck, if not controlling the pace of that match.
It was actually pretty incredible to me to really see how Rival crumbled, because it didn't really devolve from, I mean, sure, there was a little bit of overcommitment at buffs and some tunnel vision, but Emil, that's really what says it to me, is you can't afford to take up those fights in the jungle when there's a Hu-Yi on the line, because that triple bounce absolutely devastated Rival.
I mean, it was just one of the bigger turning points of the game.
Yeah, I agree. As soon as they got that triple bounce, they won the game off that. Even though Rival got the Gold Fury, they went straight to Fire. NRG got the Fire Giant, then the Portal Demon, and just continued to snowball the game.
Yeah, this was a Rival game. They were only ahead by about 1,500, but I think if you take the lead out of it and you just analyze the team fights, we were talking a lot about just the way they were controlling the entirety of the situation, and then that one play, Adapting comes from behind the back and gets a double tap. emilitoo comes through with the ricochet. It's interesting. You mentioned it, Taco. Anatoly came out from the arena. He mentioned it. And even Lobster on Twitter says, you know, NRG was getting manhandled until Emil literally won the game off of a ricochet. And I think that's probably the most accurate statement we can really bring up.
That's just the way that Hu-Yi goes, though. Sometimes you get the little bit. I am kind of still on the post that, sure, it might have been calculated, but I think more so than anything, that was some RNG Jesus pulling through for Emil. But at the same time, if it works, it works. And that's all you really need to happen. Emil won the game off of the ricochet, and Adapting and the rest of the crew just made sure to take advantage of the snowball.
Yeah, listen, Tully has a phrase where he says, luck is the intersection of opportunity, skill, and preparation. So at some point, that's really where it all comes down. NRG take the win 24-11 in the kill column, but look at that structure damage. Very close there. The player damage just separated by about 20k. This, I'm feeling game 3, guys. I think these are two evenly matched teams, much more even than I think a lot of people out there expected.
What I really want to see from Rival this time around is a lot more discipline. They had it yesterday where they were able to maintain their composure. In fact, even a little bit too much discipline where they weren't closing out games that they probably could have ended a little bit sooner. But if they just reel it back in, tone down that, I mean, it's great to have confidence, but turn down a little bit of the cockiness and just play your own game, because that pacing was theirs, and they had NRG running for a loop.
Where do you think they went wrong there, Dougie?
I think they used the early game pressure correctly. They used the Erlang Shen and the solo side to get the speed buff, the blue buff, and continue to push that. However, like Vote kept overextending in the duo lane to try and solo Emil. And then, what was it, Deathwalker, I think, kept getting Kraken, couldn't get away. Terra couldn't get away. I don't know, it just went downhill from there.
I think there's a little bit of nerves there. A lot of times we talk about land nerves making you timid early on. I think that Rival is experiencing the other side of land nerves, where they played so much yesterday, they played so hot. They're coming in almost overamped. What do you think about that?
I don't know. They're probably just using the momentum from yesterday. They're really hyped, really ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, Vote, like I said, or like you said, rather, going for those solo kills on Emil. That's what Vote does. That's kind of what he's known for. But pushing up in lane against a team like NRG, you're going to get punished. And that's what we saw a little bit time and time again. Love the